Hello, everyone. My name is Teddy Fikre. So I'm doing this special broadcast, on this day that we honor the life and the passing of Martin Luther King, to make a special announcement of sorts, and it's to pick up on a theme that Martin Luther King espoused a long time ago, that of the dream that he had. That dream is an iconic speech, but one of the things, the central things that he says a lot is really in the politics that we're going through these days, in the era of conflict, of division, of imposed identities. It gets lost in the shuffle. But if you really go back to it, what he said is, I want a person to be judged by the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And we've kind of strayed far from that dream. We're living the nightmare where we are being assessed not based on our inner worth and the value that we bring to the table, but based simply on the external traits. And this does a disservice to our common humanity, because this is nothing more than tribalism on steroids. So there's an initiative that I'm launching today. It just happens to be that it's on MLK Day as well. It's called My Love for Virginia. So what this initiative is, so let me just, I'm not going to be a politician about these things. A long time ago, I thought about running for Congress here in Alexandria in the 8th Congressional District back in 2012. But back then I just don't think I was not, I was not mature enough. I did not have the wisdom needed at the age of, I think, what was that, 37 at that time, to really, go into, put my hat in the ring, as they say. And over the years, especially after I went through 2 years of homelessness, not only did I not envision being a politician, in fact, I saw politics as the source of universal suffering in a way, because politics is the essence of dividing people. And I just did not see any way in which anyone who runs for office will be able to thread the needle and say, I'm actually a force of unification or solidarity. It's just impossible, because the whole process of our political system is to kind of create one side, the quote unquote base, and then to vilify the other side. So I became completely anti-establishment for the past. Once I got out of homelessness, I restored my life, and I just could not imagine just going back to the corporate world without and ignoring the plight of the people that I left behind. You can kind of say, I guess, I have survivor's guilt in that way. So I'm over here making good money. I'm back in the corporate world, but yet I see homelessness every day. I see hopelessness every day. And what I realized a long time ago, up until I was homeless, I used to feed into the divides. I thought, quote unquote, white people, I use quote marks a lot when I describe white and black, because these terms to me, they don't describe who we are. Like Martin Luther King said, it's not the color of our skin that matters. At the end of the day, what I believe is that we're all related. We go back to one source. Whether it's you believe as God like I do as a person of faith, or if you believe that it's the Big Bang, if you're an atheist, or if you just don't believe in a greater creator, that's you're right. That's your walk. At the end of the day, both science and faith affirm that we go back to one. So in that way, humanity is one big family. So I could no longer in good faith, especially after seeing a 7-year-old white girl in a homeless shelter in South Carolina, where I could not in good faith and good conscience look at a quote unquote white person and say, you're the source of all the ills of the world. I realized, back then, as soon as it took homelessness and with wisdom, with woes come wisdom. It took a lot of tribulation for me to shed tribalism from my eyes, and I realized that black or white, left or right, gay or straight, believer or not believer, all these divisions that really has created a caste system upon humanity, and it's a way of kind of ghettoizing us in that way. It does nothing to get us closer to justice, to get us closer to an equal opportunity for all of us. In fact, it takes us backwards at all times. So I went from looking at this world through the prism of us versus them being like black versus white or Republican versus Democrat, to kind of looking at it as the bottom 99% versus the 1%. But as I kind of keep observing this world, I kind of realize we're all in this together now. The rich and poor, black or white, all these divisions. If we're going to find our way out of this morass, it's unity across the board for those who choose it. So, which brings me back to maybe, recently, a lot of people have been saying, why don't you do it? Why don't you run? Why don't you run for office? And I'm not going to lie to you. Like, again, if I do, I will not come at this from from a typical politician point of view. I have thought about it, but, and when I say this, by the way, this is me being completely authentic about it. There's a lot of things that's before me right now. It started off with a job that is kind of uncertain because of the quote unquote, because of the vaccine mandate. I caught COVID-19 in February, and as a consequence of it, I've developed natural immunity. I get tested almost on a regular basis, and I have antibodies. So I just don't feel the need to get vaccinated when I have antibodies. And so one of the things that really our politics has become poisonous is because we can't even have these conversations. I believe that in free will. If you want to get vaccinated and I don't, as long as my decisions don't impact yours, and given the fact that these vaccines don't necessarily prevent anyone from catching it or passing it on, then we should have free will as Americans. I come from Ethiopia. I know a thing or two about imposition, about governmental overreach, where 500,000 Ethiopians were murdered within the span of a couple of years. And we'll start off with a benign form of let us make your lives easier. It always starts off with nibbles until it turns into a chomp. And so the reason that I love America is because this is a land of freedom, but these freedoms are being chipped away every day. So that's one of the things that I'm kind of considering is if I do run for office, it will be because of this. But again, given the uncertainty and given the fact that I actually sued my employer to ensure that I have a job, that question mark needs to be settled. And as a consequence of that the threat to fire me, I also it created a lot of turmoil within my personal life. So these things need to be ironed out. My focus has to be on my family, and so I have a 2-year-old son. This is where, if the foundation is not addressed, then I cannot sit up here and say I could do anything to help other people. In life, you have to first take care of yourself and then take care of those closest to you before you can take care of other people. Because you can't even take care of those closest to you unless you're in solid footing. So these are the decisions over the next, coming weeks and potentially months that I need to weigh out. And on top of this, our political, running for office these days, if you're seen as anywhere near a threat to the status quo, you know what that entails. People's lives are basically put under a microscope. Mistakes that I might have made in my 20s, in college, as a single man, all these things could is that something that I want to put my family, make my family go through all these type of public examinations, if we call it that. So just there's a lot of things I need to figure out. But even if I don't, one of the things that the reason behind my love for Virginia, it's and I'm hoping, by the way, this what starts in Virginia, which is where I live, I'm hoping it could kind of be multiplied outward. Is this idea that we need to find something new, right? For example, in the status quo where Republicans and Democrats effectively collude to deny competition, it's not good for America. Where there's a lack of competition, you find corruption. So one of the things I really advocate is for independent voices who are not either Democrat or Republicans to run on the strength of their ideas, not on another political party, but as independents. And independent of any, not a penny from Wall Street, not one dime, not one penny, right? Because if we're able to do this, if we're able to, in a closely divided House and a closely divided Senate, if we have a handful of truly independent, politicians who are not wedded to Wall Street, man, that could be a sea change for America. And that's one of the things that has me, to be honest with you, thinking about whether or not I should do it. But again, I have to kind of, there's some thresholds I need to kind of cross, So these are some of the things that I'm asking, I'm praying about for clarity. This is not a light step. But like I said, even if I don't do it personally, I'm hoping that my work through my love for Virginia, it inspires other people. Because at the end of the day, we the people are supposed to be in charge of this government. We the people are supposed to be the bosses. And if we take it, this idea that we've all been taught that anyone could become president, anyone could become congressman or senator. Let's test that theory. Let's not just assume that millionaires working for billionaires is going to be working will work for our best interests. That's apparently false. It's not working for us. So what I'm hoping, and if I do this or whether or not somebody else does this, is it's creating a paradigm where the working man, whether it's the poor, the poor people, working class, middle class, upper middle class, finally have a seat at the table. Because right now we do not. Like I said, millionaires working for billionaires is not working for us. So which leads me back to Martin Luther King. When a lot of the things that, the way that he's being celebrated these days, they harken back to when he was a quote unquote black civil rights leader. But if you inspect the story of Martin Luther King at his latter days, when he was about to, shortly before he was assassinated, he became radically different than what he was initially. He went from advocating civil rights through the prism of race to universal justice, inclusive justice, right? He was trying to unify working poor whites, working poor blacks. In fact, when he went down to Memphis, it was in solidarity with sanitation workers of all spectrum, of all races, right? So he went from being narrow in his focus to broad in his vision, and that's why he's no longer here. People that speak up for unity, that try to create solidarity between various races and various ideologies, don't last long in this world. But people that are very divisive, that speak into the angers, into the hatred of people, are elevated. And sadly, we the people also kind of play into this. We listen to demagogues. Rarely do we listen to people that are saying, "Hey, we're in this together." And that's another reason why I'm thinking that what I am thinking about, if I will do this, is because I realize banging away at the drum, from the outside, is just not working. Maybe if a few of us are inside the halls of power and we take this message of inclusive justice, maybe then it could catch on. So yeah, that's this is the grand announcement, opening announcement of my love for Virginia. So you can look it up on the web. It's my love, and my love and the number 4 VA, or my love for number 4 and then Virginia.com. And both of them will take you to the same website. And over the coming days and weeks, the website is just basically being launched right now. So you're gonna see the progress as we continue. You'll see us grow as we go. And one of the things that I'm looking for is for people to be a part of this initiative. This is going to be a completely organic, completely corporate-free, completely ideology-free movement, if you want to call it that, or a campaign, where people of all creeds, of all beliefs of all shades are welcome into the tent. And the hope, in a way, is to kind of create the environment which I saw in 2008 when I was a big time Obama supporter. Obviously, I'm not a Democrat anymore. But what I did see, though, is it was a groundswell of people that were truly excited about getting somebody elected and who they thought was going to be a change agent. But as most of us now realize, change cannot come from the status quo. It has to come from the outside. So that's what my love for Virginia.com is about. That's what my efforts are going to be dedicated to going forward. And I will kind of circle back to one other thing about Martin Luther King. When he got assassinated, the eulogy that Robert Kennedy gave was one of the most astounding speeches I've ever heard in my life. In fact, if you look it up, just type in RFK eulogy Martin Luther King, and it will come up. It's astounding. In fact, it was given in Indianapolis, I believe. Almost every city burnt that night, except for Indianapolis, because of that speech. That's how astounding that speech was. So, in a way, what my love for Virginia is about, it's creating that dynamic of Martin Luther King, who, by the way, was a Republican, and RFK, who's a Democrat. What's evident is they're actually converging, right? That's what somebody on Twitter just said. They're converging. And before they could converge and really build something for the people, they were silenced. So the Martin Luther King's dream got deferred. Well, today I'm announcing the dream continued. My love for Virginia is the continuation of Martin Luther King's dream, where a child would be assessed based on the content of their character, not the color of their skin. And it's also a continuation of RFK's vision, where he said a tiny ripple could become a tremendous wave. So this is our stone that we're dropping into the ocean of injustice, and let that ripple go forth. If you are interested in being a part of this initiative, you could just send us an email to info@mylove4va.com. Or you can also hit us up on social media as well. You can follow me at teddy.fikre. There's going to be, we're going to build out all kinds of social media presence and all that kind of stuff. So this is, you're seeing the fetus right now, if you want to call it that. So you'll see it grow, and hopefully by the time election comes, you'll actually see the delivery of a baby in that way, if you want to continue that parable. But this is not just about one election. What I'm hoping to accomplish is that going forward, we actually establish a place for thinkers of all stripe, for people, for humanity, period, to be able to come to exchange ideas without thinking that they're going to be vilified for questioning the status quo, to work together to build a community. Because at the end of the day, what's going to save America, what made America great, was never corporatism. It was small businesses who are rooted in their community. And these small businesses, these entrepreneurs are being decimated as corporations just lord over them. So if we're going to make America great, it's to go back into that essence where communities are strengthened, where small businesses are strengthened, where workers are able to work, assiduously and know for a fact that they don't have to worry about what's going to happen to them a week from now, 2 weeks from now. Instead of living paycheck to paycheck, my hope and my love for Virginia is that we actually are able to empower each other. And that's the change we've been waiting for. Thank you, everyone. God bless you and have a blessed day. Peace.
Can't hurry, love. You just have to wait.